the Football Appreciation YouTube channel. Now, a few days ago I did a Premier League goalkeepers tier list. Now I'm going to do a right back one. Now it's just purely on this season, not on any other season. And subscribe. I'm going to do one for centre backs as well, left backs, central midfielders, wingers, and strikers. But let's get into it. So, let me just acknowledge this is purely on this season. Let me just remember that. So, team of the season nominee is the first one. So, I'll probably put 3 players in there. Good is above average from what you'd expect from them. Decent is just about an alright season. Below average is kind of poor, and then poor is like the worst right backs in the league, right? So, let's start with Matt Doherty. Now, I don't think Matt Doherty is a terrible fullback, but I think he's had a really bad season by his standards, and considering they paid £15 million for him, and he was kind of expected to replace Serge Aurier, and he kind of just has become a backup. And even Ryan Mason isn't playing him either, which suggests it's not just a Mourinho agenda. I don't think he's been terrible. Like if you look at his numbers, look, obviously he was a goal scorer at Wolves, and he's kind of become the opposite of that now, which is a bit alarming. But his defensive numbers aren't great. He's not good on the ball. He's good in the air. He's got some good blocks, but like his numbers are just so average. But I don't want to put him in poor. But he has been about. I'm going to leave him below average for now, but I might move him down later. Okay, let's go with Vladimir Soufal. I'm gonna put him in good for now. I think if you look at Vladimir Soufal's numbers, they're not incredible. I'm not gonna lie. He's chipped in with quite a few assists. Not incredible on the ball, but it should be acknowledged that West Ham aren't really playing out from the back team, and he's his defensive numbers are okay. I think because he was kind of so unknown, it's kind of put him up in some people's estimations. But I don't actually think he's one of the best right backs in the league. If this was just signings or value for money, he'd be up here. But in terms of actual quality, I don't really think he's there personally, so I'm going to still leave him in good. But I do rate him. Like, he's not a bad footballer, don't get me wrong. Like, his numbers are good, but I don't think he's one of the best right backs in the league, personally. All right, let's go with Kyle Walker-Peters. No, I think Southampton, let me just show you the Premier League table in terms of goals conceded. Southampton is the second worst team, which really surprised me because I like Jan Bednarek, I like Ryan Bertrand, I like Vestergaard, I like Kyle Walker-Peters. I mean, a lot of it's due to their goalkeeper, who you can go back and watch my goalkeeper tier list video if you want to know about that. But I'm going to put Kyle Walker-Peters in decent. I think his numbers, again, like Soufal's, aren't incredible, but he's got good tackle and interception numbers. He's a good carrier of the ball. He helps Southampton play out from the back. And look, it's not necessarily needed, but I think he's just been a very solid signing for what was it, 10 mil? I think Højbjerg went in the opposite way, right? But I think it's just been a very solid signing, and I think he'll improve if the squad gets better. But it's been a solid first season for him. Let's go with Matty Cash. Again, I'm going to put him in decent. Now, I think Matty Cash had an amazing start to the season. He kind of went off like a rocket, but kind of similar to Matt Doherty. I expected more goals and assists from him. Like, that's kind of what he was at Nottingham Forest. Like, even he kind of broke through as a right winger, right, a central midfielder. But his attacking numbers and on the ball numbers are awful. Don't wrong, defensively, this is like what you'd expect to see from Wan-bissaka when he was at Crystal Palace. But you want to see Matty Cash get back on the ball. I think he's kind of phased out, and I don't think it's necessarily his fault, but I think he's kind of been overplayed, especially in the first half of the season. And they haven't really had a competent backup to really push him. It's kind of just been El Mohammadi. But I do like Matty Cash. I think he'll kick on next season. And this has been a very solid introduction to the Premier League. But I don't think I can put him in the top 2, so I'm just going to leave him in decent for now. Let's get through some of the ones that I can't really judge. So like Stuart Dallas is here. Stuart Dallas isn't a right back. He's only played 8 games at right back this season. If I was judging Stuart Dallas just not as a right back, he'd be up here. He's genuinely had an amazing season. His numbers are ridiculous. But at right back, I'm just going to have to put him in decent. I don't think he's a right back. He's played 8 games. So I'm just going to leave him in decent. But if it was just him as a central midfielder, he'd be up here. But I'm going to leave him there. If this was Luke Ayling, by the way, he'd be up here. But I'm going to put Stuart Dallas there. James Justin, again, I'm going to put in decent purely because he got injured. He's not really played loads, and a lot of his games are at left back. Again, if he played the full season, he'd probably move one of these two. But he hasn't played enough. Same with Tariq Lamptey. Tariq Lamptey's only played 800 minutes, and don't wrong, he was brilliant. Like, he's such a good dribbler. He's so good at bringing the ball out from the back. And he gave Brighton an out ball, and they've missed him a lot. But I can't put him higher because he's only played 800 minutes. Darnell Furlong, he's going to be the he's going to be the first player I put in poor. Look, I'm not necessarily saying it's his fault, but his tackles and interception numbers, you'd expect them to be really, really high considering he's playing for West Brom. He has chipped in with a few goals, to be fair. 1 goal and 3 assists, which is kind of needed when you're low down the league. But Darnell Furlong's 25 now. He's not like, he's going to be 26 in a few months. He's not like he's a 21-year-old, and I'd expect kind of better numbers on the ball. And I get that they don't play possession football, but I just think he's not really, he's just been meh, so, and he's part of one of the worst defence in the league. So I'm going to have to put him in poor. Same for George Bulldurk. Like, I like George Bulldurk. I think he had a good season last year. And it should be acknowledged he plays wing back. But I understand why his defensive numbers are down, because he plays wing back. But his attacking numbers aren't good either. So he's not really contributing much. And it's not like he's some incredible player on the ball. So yeah, I'm going to have to put him in poor. But that could just be a victim of Sheffield's ultimately poor season. Let's go Seamus Coleman. Again, I think it's been a poor season for Seamus Coleman. He's someone that I do rate highly. I think everyone loves Seamus Coleman. He comes across as a very nice guy. He's clearly a good footballer, but I think he's had a below average year. I could even put him in here genuinely. I think Everton needs to refresh that right hand side. Like last season they had Djibril Sidibe, but they haven't really had that guy to push Seamus Coleman this season. And not Mason Holgate, Ben Godfrey's had to play there a bit. And I just think he's been below average for his level. I'm not going to put him in poor, but he's pushing it. Same as Matt Doherty, they're pushing it. But yeah, it's been a poor season for me for Seamus Coleman. Let's go Joel Ward. Yeah, I think Joel Ward's a very solid backup right back to have, and he's a very good defender. But that's it. He's terrible on the ball. He contributes nothing going forward. He's such a downgrade on wan-bissaka, which I know is incredibly harsh to say, but like if you compare him to Tarek Mitchell or even Van Aanholt, at least Van Aanholt's good going forward, and Tarek Mitchell's an elite defender on the left. Joel Ward just offers nothing, and I worry for Crystal Palace because they'll be in a relegation battle next year if they don't improve that defence, and kind of that squad's so old and is running out of players. Look, I'm not saying Joel Ward's a terrible player and they need to get rid of him, but I think he's had a bad season, and I think if Crystal Palace want to progress, which they should aim to do, they've been in the Premier League for so long now, they've not really got to top 10 regularly. If they want to progress, they need to move on for people like Joel Ward. Let's go Emil Craft. He's kind of just been lurking around at Newcastle for quite a while, like since they've signed him from Nantes. His numbers are terrible. Genuinely, they are terrible, but I don't know if that's just a Steve Bruce thing. But he's got blocks and clearances, which you'd expect, but he's not good on the ball. He's not pressuring, which again that could be a Newcastle thing. His tackling interceptions aren't good. I can't put him anywhere else bar poor. I just can't. Like, I'm sorry. Like maybe it's just because he plays for Newcastle, but his numbers are terrible. Kenny Tete. I think he's a very good backup right back, but I don't think he's good enough to be your regular starter. Like, I think he'd be a perfectly good backup at Everton or at Brighton, but I don't think he's good enough to be a regular Premier League right back for me. So I'm going to put him in below average. I feel like he's the weak link at that Fulham back four. Joachim Anderson, Adebayo, and Anthony Robinson. He's the weak link for me, so I'm going to have to put him in below average. Matty Larson. I don't mind Matty Larson. I think he's an okay footballer, but again, his numbers are terrible. But he's someone that whenever I watch, I think he's a good one-on-one defender. He's an experienced pro. I'm going to put him in below average. Although being here would be fine, but he's never present in that Burnley side. He's kind of reliable. I have no issue with him. Let's go Nelson Semedo. I'm going to put Semedo in decent as well. I think, look, Semedo's not had a great season considering the price, and he's not really contributed anything going forward. Although XG should say you should have at least a goal, right? But at least what Semedo is good at is he's good on the ball. Like, his dribble numbers and his passing numbers are very good. Even when he's playing in a very long ball kind of Wolves side, which to me suggests if Wolves improve, Semedo will improve. And his pressures are high as well, which suggests he's trying. I think he's an okay player who needs time to adapt. and needs to play in a better side. So I don't really have any worries about Semedo long term, and I think he will become up here one day, but for now, kind of have to put him in decent. Let's go wan-bissaka. Now wan-bissaka, the one thing I love wan-bissaka, I think he's amazing, and he's added 2 goals, 4 assists, which is good. I still don't think he's good on the ball. Now, don't think his pass completion is in the top 7 out of fullbacks. You know, his pass completion has improved, but he's not doing many progressive passes, which to me suggests he's doing a lot of backwards passing, which is the opposite of what Luke Shaw does. But maybe that's a stylistic thing. And his interception numbers, his tackle numbers are still great. And he still worries me, but he's improving, and he's still young. I think this has been an improvement for wan-bissaka. I can't put him up here, but he's had a good season. He has. You can't deny it. João Cancelo, I'm just going to put there now. I don't really need to go into his numbers. He's had an amazing season. He's played at left back as well. He's probably been the standout right back regularly in the Premier League. I'm not even going to bother wasting my time talking about him. Let's go Reese James. It kind of looked like he was going to get phased out of the team for a bit under Thomas Tuchel, but he's come back in. The amount of green that this guy has for a right back is mad. So well rounded. He's played in the back 4 and in the back 3, which kind of helps that granted, but brilliant on the ball, contributes going forward, albeit not many goals and assists, but you know, he's a good crosser. And all these defensive numbers are good. Like, I can't really pick an obvious fault out for him. And he's 21. So I kind of have to put him in the top category. I can't not. I just can't not. Like, he's been amazing. And his numbers support that. Let's go Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, look, Trent's attacking output's still been amazing. 2 goals, 7 assists. That's amazing. And he's performing to his expected goals and assists, so it's not like he's getting lucky. And again, look, his defensive numbers are really bad, but they've never been good anyway. I find it weird how Trent's defensive numbers are all of a sudden being brought up. Like, no one brought them up last season or the season before, even though they were low anyway. And it's a stylistic thing, right, with how Liverpool play. And I feel like it's very harsh to criticise him. Like, if you look at Andy Robertson, everyone says Andy Robertson's a great fullback defensively. Those numbers are this. Look, just screen the shot those in your head, then go back to Trent. If anything, Trent's are a little bit better. And I don't see anyone slacking off Robertson. I still think Trent's had a really good season. Roast me all you want in the comments. Fine. Let me know if you disagree with any of these, by the way, but I think Trent's had an okay season. Well, sorry, he's had a good season. I think he's had a good season. Let's go with Hector Bellerin. To me, Bellerin's just kind of phasing out as a player. Like, he's 26 now, and I think people kind of expected him to be one of the best right backs in the league, especially if you asked that like 4 years ago. He's still okay on the ball. He doesn't really contribute anything going forward. He's not a good defender. I think for his standards, how many minutes has he played? 2,500 minutes. I'm going to have to put him below average. I feel like he's... Look, this is kind of a victim of Arsenal, granted, but I think if Arsenal get a good offer for Hector Bellerin, they should move him on so quickly. And yeah, I just think he's had a below average season. I don't think there's anyone I want to move. I feel like I'm pretty happy with that. The only ones I feel like I could move up is maybe Soufal go up or Trent go up, but I think this is pretty fair. Let me know what you think in the comments if you'd move any of these. I think I've been pretty fair, to be honest. Watch my goalkeeper tier list. I'll link it on screen now. And subscribe. I'll do more of these for every position. There'll be some season reviews next week when the Premier League finishes. There'll be Champions League stuff. There'll be my England squad. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe. And peace.